Hey everyone, welcome back to Bulletproof Selling. This is Sean Rhodes. I'm the Chief Sales Sergeant of Bulletproof Selling and author of the book Bulletproof Selling, a guide for systemizing sales on the battlefield of business. And here at Bulletproof Selling, our mission and mantra is that hope is not a sales strategy. So for a few years now, we've been showing up to help salespeople achieve that very thing in their sales process, in their sales cycle, that they do not have to rely on hope any longer. And as a salesperson or as a sales leader, you might be thinking to yourself, well, I kind of stumbled into this podcast, like the theme of bulletproof selling, but I don't think hope factors into what I do. Well, let's talk about that for a minute because it's going to factor into what we're going to talk about today on this show. So there will be a tie, and I promise. Believe it or not, right now in your organization or in your outreach, hope is playing a factor. And here's how I know that. Can you consistently replicate every great conversation? Can you consistently replicate every great customer? Because if you can't do that now, or that's an aspirational goal for you, then it means hope is definitely factoring into what you do. Now, my background is a Marine Corps war correspondent on battlefields studying the highest performing teams in the military. I saw that even the highest performers in the world actively looked to where hope was entering their plans and they worked to replace it. So just because you are the top performing salespeople, out there in the world, maybe you've been in President's Club every single time that it's been offered. It doesn't mean that hope is still not entering your plan. So since day one, we've been bringing on people that have been actively removing hope from their own sales cycles, from the cycles of their teams, and of course, from folks that they're working with. Over the course of the last few years, we've been able to have on best-selling authors, Hall of Fame speakers, international sales leaders, and folks that are working in a variety of ways to help salespeople remove hope from how they sell. And one area that we really don't touch on a lot here at Bulletproof Selling, because obviously it's a very tactics-driven show for sales leaders and the people that they lead, are these concepts of feelings that are essential to selling anything. Think about the last time you bought something. Yes, you had all the logic stacked up. You had all the reasons to make that purchase. You'd done the comparative shopping. You looked at the reviews and everything. But ultimately, it's a feeling that causes us to pull the trigger on a sale, whether we're buying something for our companies or something for ourselves. How do we then make sure that we are not leaving that feeling to chance? And how do we identify which feelings are actually the triggers that cause people to make buying decisions? And probably more importantly than even make initial buying decisions, what causes them to want to do business with you again? As we all know, getting that second and third sale is a heck of a lot easier with someone that already has a great experience with our company than trying to find somebody, sell them through the entire sales process from day one all the way to the point of sale. So today's guest is going to walk us through the probably most important feeling in a sales cycle and in a sales process. So I'm going to learn a lot from this gentleman because of the mindset that he brings to sales, and of course, the work that he's done in helping salespeople overcome this particular aspect of hope in the sales process. So without further ado, let me welcome onto the show Mr. Curtis Lewsey. He's the author of Appreciation Marketing and founder of amcards.com. Curtis, welcome, sir, to Bulletproof Selling.
Hey, thank you so much, brother. You're good. What an intro.
Oh, well, almost like we've done this a time or two. So
That was awesome.
now, normally when we bring people on, Curtis, there's a lot to go over. You've got a whole history in selling, but I'm particularly interested in how your history led you into understanding that selling is not so much about price, it's not so much about feature, it's not even so much about benefits, but rather it's the feeling that comes before, during, and after a good sales process. So walk us through a little bit of your history and what got you into the particular line of work that you're in today.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that. An honor to be here. So I appreciate the opportunity. So my first job out of college, I worked for a company called Cintas Corporation, the uniform people.
Mhm.
So I
Yep.
knocked on every door, every store, and every floor, cold calling up in the New Haven, Connecticut area. And there was no leads that was just given to me, no referrals. Like I had to go out there and go get it. I was a hunter. And so what I really did was I took the approach that I went to a personal development seminar and I heard this quote. It says, what you lack in skill, you can make up in numbers. It
Mm.
was a Jim Rohn quote, what you lack in skill. And I didn't know. I was brand new. It was wet, green behind the ears. Like all I did was I followed a playbook and said, if you do this, this, and this, you can expect to get this. And it's a multi-billion-dollar company traded on Wall Street. And so I went to work there actually because I read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And
Mhm.
in that book, if you remember, Robert Kiyosaki's rich dad told him to work for Xerox when he got out of the military. rather than, because not for the money, it was for the training. And so
Mhm.
in the mindset. And so I went to work at Cintas, and probably about 3 months in, I was about ready to quit. I didn't feel like I was cut out for it. And the number one sales guy rubbed it all in our face that he made twice as much money as us, and he worked half the amount of hours.
Mm.
Yet he was something that we were not doing. So while I was working hard, I wasn't necessarily working smart. And when I realized that although we were only as good as our last sale, you start over every day, every week, every month, every quarter, every year. So it really wasn't a relationship based business. It was relationship up to the point of the sale. Then this customer service took over and they serviced the accounts. So I sold really sexy products like toilet paper and air fresheners and
Yeah.
soaps. That's what I sold. Well, the number one guy took me out to lunch one day and he's like, Curtis, he's like, I love your work ethic. You're out there hustling. And he goes, tell me about some of the drivers in your territory. The people that are driving around servicing the accounts that I sell. I was like, well, it's Gary and we got Ray. And he's like, tell me about Gary. And I was like, well, what do you want me to tell you about him? He's servicing. He goes, well, you didn't know that he's a father of 3. He likes to go fishing on the weekends. He's training for a sprint triathlon. I said, no. Because what you also don't know is he sends me all of the referrals from your territory.
Oh,
And I was like, I was irritated. I was upset because I was almost like I had an entitlement attitude.
yeah.
And he's like, well, Curtis, you need to get to know people a little bit more for who they are, not just what they do. And so I started then focusing on, and I realized that you get a lead by what you do. Cold call, go knock on the door, go do. Like that's where you get leads, but you earn referrals by who you are and how you show up in people's lives. So who you are and how you show up in people's lives. So that was something that I said, okay, where around me could be my eyes and ears that would be sending me business? And one of them was be the drivers, because when they're going on a back street and they see a sign that says coming soon or under new management, the first one in the door usually gets the business. So if I educate the people in my sphere, the people that are around me, then I could earn those referrals. But they're not just going to send them to me. Got to earn them. And so that's when I started changing my mindset around working smart and working hard. And a couple months later, I was a number one sales rep out of 1,250 sales reps nationwide.
Wow. All right, man. I love that story. And that's a good lead into what we're going to talk about today. So it sounds like you figured out for the people, not even your customers quite yet, but I know it eventually factors into their lives as well, but just the people you work with, those people that have their eyes and ears out on the street for you, knowing them for who they are rather than just what they can do helps to build that relationship so that you are top of mind. And for anybody that's selling anything, you want to be top of mind when the people you work with and your customers and your network thinks about what you do. How do you get that done? It's not just by providing the cheapest, most cost-effective service. It's because of the person you are and the relationship that you've built with them. So talk to me a little bit about what you do today now, how you leverage that experience into the service that your company provides, because I know it's a beautiful dovetail into making sure that people still know who you are.
Yes, absolutely. So when I wrote the book, Appreciation Marketing, it was a few years after I left Cintas. And so what I realized is that one of the biggest competitive advantages in business and in life, saying thank you, being appreciative, and going out of your way and being intentional. So I don't believe in necessarily random acts of kindness because they're all intentional. Like when you decide and you take action to do something, that's very intentional. So when you're when you're recognizing or appreciating or celebrating somebody's life and you do it in a genuine and authentic way, people remember you. People also remember you with a smile and more of a warm and fuzzy. And so with this book that we wrote, it's all common sense stuff. It's just not common practice. And if you want to separate yourself from whatever it is that you're doing and you want to be in the top 10%, top 5%, top 1%, look for opportunities to celebrate, appreciate, or congratulate people. And when you're doing that and you're putting that out there, it comes back many, many times over. And I'll give you an example. So we have like 25,000 real estate agents that we work with in our platform, AM Cards. AM stands for Appreciation Marketing. That's how we got amcards.com, where people can go online, select a greeting card online, and then they type a message. They can even use their own handwriting, their own signatures. You can upload your own pictures, customize it, click send. And then we have printers in-house in our own buildings where we print it, stuff it, stamp it with a real first-class stamp, and mail it out the next day. And so There's also a lot of people say, well, I like to handwrite my cards. Awesome. Don't ever stop doing that. So if somebody's
Hmm.
going to handwrite cards, don't stop. You're top 1% already. Like there's very few people that are actually doing that. Yet when you like, for instance, I have a good buddy of mine. He's the executive vice president of the fastest growing real estate company in the country. He happened to be the one that sold me my home. And the
Hmm.
owner of the company is a good friend of mine. And his wife's 40th birthday was just last week, and they were over in Italy. So I took pictures that he posted on Facebook and Instagram, and I put them on a greeting card. I sent it to them. He flipped out. He's like, "This
Hmm.
is so cool, Curtis." So he's like, a lot of things are digital, but when it's in print, it's more emotional. It's felt at a different level. So we're going to talk in a little bit about an appreciation marketing strategy, but just being intentional about taking your database and say, okay, my customers, I need to make sure that I appreciate them. See, there's two reasons why somebody's not going to come back to do business again or refer you business. Well, there's multiple, but the top two reasons is number one, they don't remember you.
Hmm.
Maybe you're a roofer, maybe you're a painter, maybe you're a real estate agent. There's some crazy statistic like over 90% of the people who bought a home over 3 years ago don't even remember the real estate agent's name.
Wow. Hmm.
And they just earned a monster commission, but yet they're not staying in touch saying, hey, happy home anniversary, happy birthday, happy Thanksgiving, things like that, where you can do those touch points. So it's crazy, but the top two reasons are they don't remember you or perceived indifference. Perceived
Hmm.
indifference is just a fancy way of saying they don't think that you actually care. So when you show that you care, you go to the top of the list and you're not the plumber, you're my plumber. You're
Ah,
not the
yeah.
hairdresser. You're my hairdresser. You're not the real estate agent. You're my real estate agent. It's a whole different level of energy because that person is not referring three different names. They're referring one and one only because they're the best. And that
Dig it.
emotion, like what you talked about, that emotion is powerful. Like, 'cause so when somebody thinks of it that way, you go to the top, you have to fight for, quotes and beat up on price and all that stuff. Cause come by way of a referral, it's a higher, it's all around better.
It is all around better. So with the teams that you're working with now, then I know people are coming to you for this service, and we're going to talk about that as part of the strategy. They're coming with a problem, right? They're not getting that repeat business. They're not being referred enough. So I'm curious, where do you see salespeople relying on hope in this process that they will be remembered, that they will be seen as concerned about future business? The prospect doesn't see them, or the customer doesn't see them as being indifferent. Where does hope enter the picture there?
Yeah, that's a great question because when you're in that sales process, you're in the cycle, whether you're cleaning somebody's pavers or you're painting somebody's house, or maybe you're just a real estate agent or a lender or something like that. So there's so many different professions out there where I feel like the biggest miss is after sale, like post
Mm,
sale marketing. We do so much to try to get them in our funnel or get them in our pipeline to then people say close the business. I like to say open a new relationship. But
mm,
so they close that business and then they're seeking to find the next piece of business instead of sometimes cultivating um, the database that they already have, people that should like them, trust them, understand what they do because they've already done business. So I think the biggest thing that they're doing is they're hoping that somebody's going to remember them
mhm,
and hoping that and to remove all doubt out of that is to put a post sale marketing strategy in place. And one of the biggest and the best things you can do is wrap it around appreciation and gratitude.
mm,
Because when you show up in their life and say, Happy Thanksgiving, I'm grateful for you and your family, nobody sends Thanksgiving cards. They all send holiday cards. And then they're probably mixing in an offer. I like to say, don't put an offer inside the card because then it comes across as being more disingenuous. I'll give you an example, Sean. So like, let's say that it's your birthday and I'm going to send you a birthday card. And I say, hey, happy birthday. Hope everything's going great with your family and your business and everything with Bulletproof selling. And at the bottom, I put PS. The greatest compliment in the world is a warm referral. Oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for your referrals.
right.
Well, it's the whole message. Now it doesn't land with a warm and fuzzy. It's chapter 5 of our book is called Chocolate Frosted Dog Crap. So from afar, it looks like a piece of chocolate cake. Oh my gosh,
Mhm,
Curtis cares about me. This is really nice until I bring it up in front of you and set it down. How long does that realize till you realize that that's not chocolate cake? Instantly.
Yeah.
You smell it, insincere, it's crap. Literally, it goes in the garbage. It's like what we say, sending out poopaganda.
Yeah, yeah,
And
and
now,
next time I get something from a customer like that, I'm just going to assume it's also poopaganda. Great term.
yes,
So let's
yeah,
build a system around this. I know you've been using the word strategy, but here at Bulletproof Selling, the idea is
let's do it.
just like on the battlefield, every new system allows us to remove more hope from how we operate. And as a
Yes.
salesperson, I've, like you said, done all the work to get this person through the pipeline, serve them, match up a solution. Now we have this opportunity for a new, stronger relationship. So let's talk about building a post-sale marketing strategy, where most of the marketing we're currently doing is probably in the sales process, but a post-sale marketing strategy. With every new system that we had on the battlefield, Curtis, removed hope, trimmed it away. So we use this acronym TRIM to help us keep track of our sales systems. So the T in TRIM is the trigger. If I want to trigger a post-sale marketing strategy, does that happen for you in your mind? If I was going to train a bunch of salespeople to use this, does it happen at the point of sale, or is it something I should be teeing up prior? When do you recommend I trigger this post-sale marketing strategy?
Well, I would recommend at the point of sale because
Okay.
you want to make sure that you say thank you and I appreciate you. Now, understand leading up to that sale, there's a lot of things that you can do. You're going to submit a proposal for somebody or something like that. You can be like, hey, I really appreciate the opportunity to earn your business. Like one of my good friends and investor in my company, he sells private jets. He's an executive for a private jet company. They do concierge. They charter them out. He sells jets, all kinds of stuff, right? And for years, what he always says when he gets a new contact, he say, "I really appreciate the opportunity to earn your business."
Mm,
That's a great line. I love that line. I've used it thousands of times since. And then, every like other different stages along, hey, great connecting with you on the phone the other day. Also, make sure that you're taking care of their assistants and their executive assistants and sending them a
mm,
box of gourmet fudge brownies and saying, thank you for helping me get on the calendar the other day. Those little things go a long way. Those people in the office and help manage that person's calendar. So doing those little things make a big difference. So when we sell, like, give you an example. We work a lot with dealerships, car dealerships right now. Car dealerships is what our biggest clients. And so in the automotive space, especially the kind of the psychology around it is like, what are we going to sell this week, this month? We got to close out the month. We got to close out the month. And the owner principles and the people that are tied in long term are thinking next quarter, next year, a few years down
yeah.
the road. The salesperson is not, because most
No,
salespeople are
no.
not created in the automotive space. So
Yep.
we work with the owner principal or the general manager. I'll give you an example of what we do. So I just got off the call with a Toyota store in Marietta, Georgia, right? And what they're doing is a post-sale 5-year campaign where they're going to send a
Mm,
thank you card with a couple gourmet fudge brownies that's triggered instantly after the sale because we tie into their technology. We have an API. And so when that finance manager marks a deal, it automatically triggers. We also are integrated with Salesforce, HubSpot, Monday, Zoho, Pipedrive. So a lot of these different CRMs that could be triggered based on an event or a stage change in the CRM. So we can
mhm,
build it into the workflows. So then let's say the cadence goes, thank you for your business. And then 5 days before their birthday, a birthday card goes out appreciating them. 5 days before the car anniversary, bring this card in for a free car wash, building that habit of bringing them back to the lot. So if you're a service-based business and maybe you offer a warranty, maybe that 1 year, can you believe it's already been 1 year since we were at your house? Just want to remind you of our warranty. Any paint, any cracking, chipping, peeling, free of charge, will come out and take care of that for you. Well, most painters don't want to get those calls, and other
right.
ones have a different mindset around it. Well, if I go out there, I'm going to earn another. They're going to tell me to, hey, can you paint the hallway? Can you go outside
Yeah.
and do
Or
the
my neighbor was just telling me they needed this. Go over there and visit them. Right. Exactly.
that?
Yep.
So the whole idea of this is to make sure that they don't forget you. And when you wrap around appreciation and gratitude, it takes it to another level. They might not say thank you for every card, yet they're receiving them. And
Mhm.
nobody's showing up in the mailbox anymore. Everything is all digital these days. So we like to say, be remembered, not deleted.
I love it. So that actually leads into the R in trim, which is making this repeatable. So you'd mentioned
Mm.
something brilliant about a 5-year campaign. So I captured a couple of steps, and I'll read them off to you, and then you can give me your insights into future ones we should have. So you mentioned first step being trigger something at the point of sale to show appreciation. Second one, appreciation for each stage change, even throughout the sales process, something unique to that stage. You mentioned a birthday card, so that's an annually occurring event. And then anniversary of sale, second annually occurring event, offering them something product related or service related to help them get more enjoyment, more use out of what you sold them. Are there any other steps you would recommend that I program in this so I could repeat it across every single sale?
I like the fact 30 to 60 days after doing something of value. So,
Okay.
give you an example. Maybe there's a real estate agent that has a lot of vendors that they're very close with. I would actually then integrate some of those vendors. Here's my plumber. Here's my electrician that I recommend. Here's my landscaper, my pest control person. Here's a list of them. And guess what? Those people will actually pony up some money and help pay for this entire campaign because every new customer is either going to be in that house, right? So,
Yep.
that right there is actually something that's very powerful. Like because there's so much energy a lot of times leading up to the sale. And then once the sale happens, you're taking care of more clients. So 30 days, 60 days out, just that touch point means a lot. Then I like Thanksgiving. I like St. Patrick's Day. Lucky to have you in our life.
Mm.
You do something like that. 4th of July is a great time to maybe wrap something inspirational. I love Happy New Year as well. A nice little motivational, like inspirational quote for the upcoming new year. Not every time that you're sending something out, you're trying to get something in return. Yet in the car business, when it starts getting year 3, 4, 5, that's when people start sometimes getting the itch to trade in, trade up. So maybe they mix in a little offer after they've also loved on this customer for a couple of years. The
That's
whole
amazing.
Gary
So, and
Vaynerchuk, jab,
I'll
jab,
actually
jab,
give
right
you
hook.
one that we've been doing for years because I'm a veteran-run business. I make sure that around the 1st of October, I start getting these cards staged out for all of my past clients, and it's thank you for hiring a veteran-owned business. I hope you have a great
Nice.
Veterans Day, that kind of thing, right? So, yeah, we're definitely a believer in that here at Bulletproof Selling too. So we've got the trigger,
Love
making it repeatable. Now the eye trim is making this system improvable. And we think back, let's say 15, 20 years ago, the internet was just beginning to be a thing, but automation wasn't. So it was very difficult for us to automate these types of cards. Now we can do that. So why not integrate that into the campaigns, the systems, and of course the business model that you have? So how am I going to improve this system to make sure that it does keep up with technology, that I am assessing it for its results to make sure, hey, this is creating the results I want, which is people coming back to me with referrals, with follow-on business? How would you recommend I improve my post-sale marketing strategy?
Well, there's other things that you can add into it and layer into it. So there's different CRMs, but actually with AM cards, there is an option with our pro level membership where you can actually tie in a voicemail drop and a text message. You can tie in with every greeting card. So if you make a sale and very next day there could be a voicemail drop that goes out depending on what kind of level of transactions you are and if the person that owns the business is further removed from the actual selling process itself. Depending on how big the organization is, it could be pretty cool to have a general manager thank them for their business, but yet the salesperson and the sales manager were the ones that were involved, and the finance manager were involved in the sale. The general manager is kind of the one sitting on top, but the one that pulls the strings. And it's nice to have appreciation, gratitude come from the top as well. So I would give you an example. I have a Hyundai dealership in Atlanta that he says, Curtis, that voicemail drop the day after the sale is so nice because when they call, it gets routed right to my BDC. And he goes, but then the information that's in the card comes directly to me as well. And he goes, so what happens is I end up getting that message and I can get in front of a heat case really quickly. I can delegate it and turn that, 2-star into a 5-star review. And so how you can improve upon it? Maybe add a QR code inside the card and say, hey, it would mean the world to me if you could scan this QR code and leave me a 5-star review. Thank you so much in advance for all of your help.
Got it. Got it. Those are great ways. All right. So now we're going to move into the eye. Excuse me. We went to the eye and trim improving. Now I want to measure the results of this, the final element of this acronym, the M. If I'm taking the time to do this, it's going to take time away from when I could have been just banging the phone and dialing for dollars and smiling for sales. So I want to make sure that the time is well invested. But what am I going to measure here, Curtis? Am I going to measure just repeat business? Am I measuring referrals? Am I measuring some other elements just to know that, hey, this is getting me ROI? What do you recommend we measure on this post-sale marketing system?
that's one of the things that kind of comes from your gut, because,
Mm.
you know, there's not necessarily, there's certain things that you can track and measure, but like with something like this, it's a hard thing to kind of quantify, like, because it's investing in your future. It's kind of future proofing your business with investing in repeat and referral business. Like, we're in the mindset so much in business that's like, if I do this, what am I going to get? And
Mhm.
when you flip it around and say, appreciation marketing, like I wrote about at its core, is sending out without expectation of getting something in return. You know, we're all consumers and we all are on the other end of purchasing things, right? And so we go out of our way to purchase things like, hey, this person's a veteran. He cares about, he shows me he cares. Well, how? Well, because heck, he calls me on my birthday and wishes me happy birthday. Or when he's in the area, he stops by. Heck, he helped me lay down the sod in my front yard. You know, he saw that I was across the street or this or that. Like those little things that go a long way. And when you believe that, in my core is that one of the best investments that we can make in life and in business is in relationships. I truly
Mm.
believe that relationships is one of the best investments we can make, because relationships are the real currency in life. And if you subscribe to that and say relationships are the real currency, I could lose everything today, but the relationships I have around me and the deposits that I've made over my life, I can get right back to where I was and explode past it because I got the right people on my team. And I believe in that. And so if you just scan across around the way and say, okay, this person never seems like they're ever working. Well, they're always out to dinner. They're playing golf. They're this. No, they got it figured out, because like they understand appreciation marketing at the highest level, and they have a
Mm.
bunch of people feeding them business, which allows them to actually live a life, you know, and you're working to live or you're living to work. And so I believe that we surround ourselves with the right people. We invest in them, we make deposits, and doing this little things, it does come back many times over. Like, I'll give you an example. We have a Michigan real estate agent in Michigan, and her name is Annette, and she came up to us at a seminar, gave us a big hug, and she said, I've been using you guys since 2019. And I just want to let you know, I only send birthday cards to my database. That's it. I only use you guys just to send birthday cards. And I close 7 to 8 deals every year just from sending birthday cards. And her average commission is 10,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good
So,
ROI, isn't
yeah,
it?
I mean, $400,000 roughly
Yeah.
that she's earned over the last 5 years and just sending birthday cards. Now she's layering on home anniversary cards, because here's what happens. These cards, they lead to conversations.
Mhm.
Conversations lead to opportunities, and opportunities lead to closed business.
That's a great saying, and I love the idea of not measuring what we're getting out of this, but instead measuring the quality of the relationships we're developing. So, great way for anyone to develop more referrals, more follow-on business, and of course, just better relationships. As you mentioned, it does go beyond the revenue that's exchanged. It gets into the heart of why we're doing what we're doing. So, instead of just selling, we can also focus on serving. So, Curtis, great end-to-end system for post-sale marketing. How do people get deeper into your world, find out more about AM cards? What are the things they should be looking at?
Yeah, you just go to amcards.com. I'm a big believer in try it before you buy it. You know, send your first card on me. Send your first card for free. I'll pay for the stamp, the card, everything. Just take a look at it. See if it's something that's right for you and if you want to implement it or not. We do have some memberships. We have a membership for as low as $39 a month. If you mention Bulletproof selling when you reach out to us, we'll remove the entire $199 system license. So that's something that's a barrier to some people. It's totally worth it, but we'll get rid of it. And the $39 a month, we put $40 in your account every month. It rolls over for a year if you don't use it. So we make it really easy, and there's no contracts or anything like that. So I truly believe something like this could be the biggest secret weapon in your back pocket,
Mhm.
because just by dropping these cards from time to time, it goes a long way. People don't forget this. And I would recommend putting together an appreciation marketing strategy. And if you just start with one, post-sale marketing is one. What you can also do is look for opportunities every day in your life. Things come up where you can appreciate, celebrate, or congratulate somebody, whether it's Facebook, Instagram that you're seeing online. Save those pictures, email it to yourself, or put it in your notes on your phone, and carve out 30 minutes a week. That's it. And label it appreciation marketing. And when you show up to that time that you scheduled, have a plan for it. Because if you don't have a plan, something else will fill that time, of course. So time block appreciation marketing. And for the previous 7 days, you're looking for opportunities to congratulate, appreciate, or celebrate somebody. Somebody just had a baby. Somebody lost a loved one, and you want to recognize that and say, I'm very sorry. Somebody just ran a marathon. Somebody just came back from tour. They're on in the military. They just came back to their family and they're hugging. Grab the picture, put it on a card, say, congratulations, thank you for your service. You do those types of things, they get saved, it gets remembered. These cards get put in the baby book. They get put in frames. They get put on the mantle. And do this consistently week in and week out, and you're going to watch. These calls are going to come in. It's going to make you feel like $1 million. And then on top of that, these people are going to be talking about you behind your back in a good way.
In a good way. That's an awesome end-to-end system, sir. So for those of you out there, make sure you're checking out Curtis and the great stuff he's doing over at AM Cards, and of course his book, Appreciation Marketing. For us here at Bulletproof Selling, if you're catching us on the live stream on YouTube, make sure you're subscribing there. And if you're listening on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, anywhere the podcast can be found, leave us a review and let other salespeople know. Hope no longer has to be part of their sales strategy either. Curtis, thanks so much for giving back to the sales community today. Talk about a way to appreciate the folks that are in your peer group. Let's get out there and make selling bulletproof.
That was awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you.